one taken from the gospel history books in the morning time. That's the legendary Pilgrim Jubilees, Clay Cleveland, and the rest of the crew. Don't you dare let Jesus down is the name of the song. Here on 90.1, we are WMPR. You got Armstrong of the radio playing nothing but the very best in old school gospel right here on 90.1. Yes, we are WMPR. Coming up next is Soul Talks Money and More here on your FM.
WMPR 9.1 FM, Jackson, Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi.
It's 7 a.m. Let's rise and shine. Soul Talks Money, the future's alive. Grab your coffee, let's take a ride. It's wealth and wisdom, time will rise. Author, Mr. Educator, team sharing the wealth, building things you should do. From trust to banking, it's all a must. Your guide to what this money deserves. Legacy matters, secure it right. Dreams take shape with every insight. Wills and assets, life insurance plans, building for your future with expert hands. Soul Talks Money and More, building wealth with knowledge galore. Asset protection, plans to grow. To read and watch your dreams overflow. From saving today to transfer life. Breaking generational wealth divides. Healthcare directives, banking tips. We're here to help your fortune eclipse. From saving today to transfer life. Breaking generational wealth divides. Healthcare directives, banking tips. We're here to help your fortune eclipse. So and now it's time to learn. So wisdom's your return. Invest, protect, and thrive for sure. Signing off is Soul Talks Money and More.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's time to rise and shine for another edition of Soul Talks Money and More. I am your host, Dr. Sabrina Edmond Williams, educator, author, and investor. Opening minds and closing contracts. I am so noted, and I am so excited and so delighted to be here this second Monday in September. Can hardly believe we are already approaching the end of the third quarter of the year. Looking at the fourth quarter, what they say, number four, it's time for number 4. So we got to do some more. Thank you so much to my WMPR 90.1 listening audience, as well as my WGDQ 93.1 listening audience. To you this morning, my YouTube viewing audience, as well as my Facebook viewing audience. Thank you for allowing me another opportunity to come and feed into you this morning. We got some good stuff to talk about, so I need you to get up out that bed and turn that radio up, because we have a conversation that we started last week. And as I told you, this month, we are talking life insurance. So get up, pull up, show up. Let's get ready to learn. So it's talking money and more this morning. Good morning. I see my YouTube folks coming on in. Come on in. Listen up. I have a question for you. We're going to start with a question. Have any of you ever had to reach into your pocket, not for groceries, not for rent, not for something that you planned, but to help bury a loved one? A loved one who didn't have life insurance. Have you ever watched the grief of losing someone you love, only to have it compounded by the stress of wondering how in the world you as a family member, were going to cover the funeral bill? Well, if you haven't, guess what? Dr. Williams has. I've had to do it on more than one occasion. Actually, the first time I ever had to help bury someone, Mr. Armstrong, was when I was the ripe old age of 25 years old and a graduate student at Mississippi State University. I didn't see it coming. Most times we never do. We don't see death coming because a lot of times it doesn't announce itself. But I was tasked with helping to bury a loved one. Now, at that time, this was new to me. I had never been down this road before. I didn't have a clue what to do, how to do, where to go. I just knew the person was deceased and my phone didn't stop ringing, which meant that should have been a sign, right? Somebody had to bury the person. But fate would have it. We had folks that stepped in and stepped up and guided us and helped us do what needed to be done. But in many cases, this is our story in our community. Sometimes it requires us to contribute to a GoFundMe or even pass the hat at the repast. Yeah, sometimes we have to pass the hat. Today, I want us to sit through a tough truth. A truth that too many Black families are unprepared to deal when it comes with death knocking at our door. And let's be honest here, death is not an if it's going to happen. No, it's not. It's a when, and we know that. If we are believers, we know that unless the good Lord comes back before, we all have to cross that threshold of death. So it's not if it's coming, it's when it will arrive. Even knowing that, over and over and over again, when the moment comes, instead of being able to focus on grieving, we're scrambling, calling cousins, setting up fundraisers, passing the plate at church, setting up GoFundMes, and praying all the time that we can come up with enough to give our loved one a decent homegoing. Well, let me just pause right there and got to go out of script here for a moment because as I told you, I was faced with this at the ripe young age of 25 years old, having to go in my pocket and figure out how to bury someone. Now, for those of you that may find yourself in a similar position, I will tell you that we talk about a decent homegoing. Well, the reality is these services that we do, we put on funeral services, memorials, whatever they are, they're for our benefit. They're for the benefit of the living, not for the benefit of the dead. So take it from Dr. Williams. Don't break the bank. Don't break the bank. I was 25 years old. I was a graduate student, and I had to think about not just that moment, but how I was going to make it through the next couple of years of graduate school. I couldn't take all my student aid and use it to pay for a funeral. So just take it from me. Let's not do that. We get caught up in this decent homegoing, and the people that die don't put anything in place to ensure that they have a decent homegoing. So those of us that are left behind, don't break the bank. That's just a side note, sidebar from Dr. Williams. I'm going to get back on script now. Let's ask ourselves a question, a deep question. Why is it that Black families keep passing the hat at funerals? Let that sink in. If you've ever had to do it, if your family is familiar with that, why is it that we have to do that? We are here in 2025, and yet we're still having the same story play out in many instances, generation after generation. We're passing the hat. The sad part about it is we know that life insurance exists. Yes, we know that. We know that funerals cost money because the funeral homes got hip. They figured it out. These sob stories, everybody grieving and, just tore up from the floor up about their loved ones passing on and promising to come back and pay the remainder of the funeral bill and never showing up again. The funeral home got hip. They don't care. They'll let your loved one lay out there and rot. Trust me, they will. They're in business to make money. So we know funerals cost money. We know we have a monetary obligation. And we know that none of us are going to escape death. It's coming for us. Yet still, when it happens, too many families are left broke, embarrassed, and burdened. Say it again, we left broke, embarrassed, and burdened with the responsibility of having to bury loved ones. Now, some of this is due to history. Let's not forget, during slavery and even well after, Black folks were denied access to fair financial tools, including life insurance. And I get that. Yep, there was a time when we struggled to get insurance. There was a time when our very lives weren't even considered insurable to some folks. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in depth a few weeks from now. But now here it is, even into the 20th century, many companies either wouldn't insure us or gave us policies that barely covered a fraction of our burial expenses, even into the 20th century. So yes, there is a historical wound that exists in the Black community as it relates to life insurance. But now here's the thing. Today, I'm talking 2025, we do have access to life insurance. Trust me, we do. Every time I turn around, somebody's trying to sell me some life insurance. Today, we do have access and we do have choices. The question is, are we going to make them? Are we making them? Are we making the choice to get insurance? When we don't have a plan, or when we don't plan, when we don't insure, we leave our families vulnerable. These folks that we say we love and we care so much about, we leave them vulnerable, you guys. Think about it. An average funeral today costs anywhere from $8,000 to $15,000. $8,000 to $15,000. And that's not including any medical bills, unpaid debts, or just the everyday costs of keeping the lights on while a grieving family tries to figure things out. So when we say, I'll get to it later, or I can't afford life insurance, what we're really saying is, I'm leaving this burden on my family. I'm leaving this burden on my family. Now, I'm going to go off script here again, Mr. Armstrong. I want to ask you a question. Come on back on air with me for a minute. I just told you the average funeral costs anywhere from $8,000 to $15,000. Now, I know you got a huge friend circle because that phone ringing from the time you walk up in this studio to the time you walk out. How many of them folks you think you could call up and ask them to let you hold $8,000 to $15,000 to put somebody in the ground? Very, very few. Y'all hear what he said? Now, I didn't say it. He said very few folks he gonna be able to call up. And if you call them one time, talking about asking them for $8,000 to $15,000 to put somebody in the ground, you might not want to call them a second time, right? No, they probably won't answer. I'm going to come on back on script, you guys. Thank you, Miss Armstrong. And let me make it plain for you. Life insurance is not about us. It's not about you. It's not about you, the person that you're insuring. Even though you're insuring your body, you got to remember, it's not about you because you'll be gone on. Where you're going, now that's a whole nother conversation, and that's not what this show is about. But you'll be gone. Life insurance is about the people you love, the ones who will have to carry on without you. It's about your children, your spouse, your siblings, your parents, your community. It's about dignity. It's about not letting your last act on this earth be one that brings stress and struggle to the very people who loved you the most. Now, some of us, y'all, our grandmothers and our mothers, we've been tugging on their heartstrings all their lives. The last thing they need to worry about when you pass on is how to come up with the money to put you in the ground. We got to do better, my people. We got to. And here's the part right here that we don't say quite enough. Life insurance can actually be affordable. Yes, it can be, because there are different types of insurance that you can get. Whole life policies, term life policies, policies tied to investments. We can get different types of insurance plans. So we got to stop this stinking thinking when it comes to life insurance. I can't afford it. It's too expensive. Now, y'all know when I hear that word, I can't afford it, or that phrase, I should say, that triggers Dr. Williams. And I have to go here and I'll say this. We can afford everything that we want to afford, people. We do it every day. Must I remind us that we as a community spend anywhere from $1.3 to $1.8 trillion annually, trillion with a T, annually, on the things that we want to afford. Everything that we want to afford, whether it's getting our hair done, getting our nails done, getting our eyelashes, our eyebrows done, our breasts augmented, our behinds augmented. We can afford to do all those things. We can afford to go on cruises. We can afford to do a whole lot of things. And I'm not knocking any of those things. Don't get me wrong. That's not what this is all about. But I am here to debunk this whole idea that we cannot afford life insurance. We cannot afford it. Now, let me I got to slow down for a minute, and I want to break this down because I want us to understand this is an educational platform. So I got to make sure that we all understand, and I can't just make the assumption, and I apologize if any of you find this belittling, but everybody doesn't know. And I can't just assume that everyone knows. So we're going to break it down, okay? Now, some of us hear the word life insurance and we immediately think it's complicated. It's too expensive, or something only rich people have. But let me be clear. Let me clear this up right here. Life insurance, all it is, you guys, is a simple contract. That's all life insurance is. It says you agree to pay a company a set amount of money, and that's called the premium. You agree to pay that, and in exchange, that company promises to pay your loved ones or whoever you designate a lump sum of money, and that's called your death benefit upon your passing. That's it. It's that simple. It's just a contract, an agreement. I do this and you do that. I pay the premiums, and in exchange for the payment of those premiums, according to whatever schedule we agree on, you agree to pay my designated beneficiary a lump sum of money called a death benefit. That's all life insurance is, you guys. That's it. It's not a scam. It's not magic. It's not throwing money away. It's protection. It's protection. Just like car insurance protects your car, or health insurance covers your doctor's visits. It's the same thing, except this time it's about protecting the people you leave behind. And tragically, in this country, think about it. I want you to think about it. Let's not even go outside of the country. Let's just go here in the state of Mississippi. We are required by law, we are required to carry insurance on our vehicle. Is that not correct, Mr. Armstrong? Law says you got to have it. We are required now, under federal mandate, to have health insurance. Is that not true? All right. But the interesting thing is, I can carry car insurance all my life and I may never file a claim. If you owe a mortgage on a home, 9 times out of 10, the person that holds that mortgage requires you to have what? Home insurance, right? I may never file a claim on that home insurance. Health insurance, depending on whether or not you go to the doctor, you may use that insurance very little. But one thing for sure, 2 things for certain, as my mama can say, just keep living. Just keep living. If you live long enough, old man death is going to knock on your door. So chances are that life insurance policy is something that will get used. It'll get used. Now, here's how it works in everyday terms. Let's go back to educating the people. You apply for a policy. They'll ask you some questions. They're going to ask you things like your age. They're going to ask you some questions about your health, your income, and sometimes they'll even do a medical exam. Sometimes they won't, depending on what insurance company you're dealing with. And then they tell you the set amount of premium that you have to pay. That premium may be paid on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, or a yearly basis. Think of it like, Netflix subscription or any other subscription that you pay, except this one actually secures your family's future. When you pass away, the insurance company pays your beneficiaries. Now that term basically means the people who you designate in the policy to receive the money upon your passing. So your beneficiaries, that money is paid to them, whoever you designate. And it can be a person, it can be an entity. Did you know that? It could be your favorite charity if you so choose. A lot of people say, well, I don't have kids. Well, you don't have to have kids. Maybe you have a favorite charity or a cause that you would want to leave the money to, and you can do that. Now, this money, life insurance money, a lot of times we book at the idea of having to pay the tax man. But life insurance money, that money is tax-free and it can be used however your family needs to use it. Sometimes we have different types of insurance policies and they may have some specific rules around how the money can be used, but that's not the case with life insurance policies. However your family needs to use it. Remember I said there are some costs associated with your death, funeral costs, but there are some other costs we got to think about, such as your mortgage. If you don't pay off your home before you die, somebody has to keep their mortgage going. Life insurance can do that. It helps pay that mortgage. Let's say if you die, and I've had relatives in my family to die when they had children that were just young children, 4 years old. I had an aunt, my mother's baby sister, died at about 35 years old. I can't remember. She was 35 or 36 years old and left behind a 4-year-old. Okay? That child had a lot of educating to be done. Somebody had to pay for that, sending children to college, or simply keeping food on the table. These are things that go beyond just paying for the funeral and putting people in the ground. Now, the beauty of life insurance is that it turns a small, regular payment while you're alive into a financial lifeline for the ones that you love when you're gone. Think about that. That small, regular payment can turn into a lifeline for the people that we leave behind. Now let's talk about the 2 main types of life insurance that most families need to understand. Again, we're doing this because this is an educational platform and we can't just assume that everybody knows, because perhaps that's why people don't get it. They really don't get it. They don't understand. Okay, so we're here to help you with that. Now, 2 basic types of insurance are term life insurance and whole or permanent life insurance. Okay. Now, when we think about term is like Let's equate that to renting, okay? You're covered for a specific period of time. Let's say a 10-year term, a 20-year term, a 30-year term. And it's usually much cheaper, which makes it a great option for young families. I think about myself, for example, my husband, before we even got married, we talked with the life insurance agent and we got life insurance because we wanted to make sure that we would be okay if something were to happen to the other of us. Now, thankfully, we have not so far had to use that term policy, but it came in handy when we were a young family and all we could afford was a small amount of life insurance. So let me give you an example of someone that may be interested in a term policy. A healthy 30-year-old can sometimes get maybe a $500,000 policy, $500,000 of coverage for less than $30 a month. $30 a month. Now you say, well, Dr. Williams, there has to be a catch. What's the catch here? Now there is a catch. If you outlive that policy, guess what? There is no payout. That's a risk that you take if you outlive the policy. Now we want to, most of us want to outlive the policy. But the reality is, if we go back to the statistics that we talked about last week on the show. And if you were not able to join us last week, please go on over to my YouTube channel at I Am So Noted, at IAMSEWNOTED. I encourage you, go back and listen to last week's show. Please go back. We laid out some startling statistics. So chances are, even though some of us will outlive our term policies, there are many people who didn't and who won't outlive term policies just because of the statistics that we laid out last week. It's okay if you outlive it, because during those years, having that coverage gives you and your family a peace of mind to know that if something were to happen, you would have adequate coverage. Think about what I just said, $500,000 of life insurance coverage. That could go a long way, you guys. Last week, I talked about my grandmother and how I remember, and many of you probably remember the same thing, the people that came by to collect the little burial policies. You know, Mr. Armstrong, you remember those? Sometimes they were $7 or $8, $10 a month. And a lot of our ancestors, our older people, paid on these policies for years, sometimes 30, 40 years, the same as a term, but they continued to pay that money. And then when it was time for a payout, the agent came and gave their family a whopping $250 check or $500 check. Imagine if these same individuals had been gifted, their families had been gifted a $500,000 check. Think about how much Black wealth we as a community could have created if only we had known. When you don't know better, you can't do better. But that's what Dr. Williams is here for, to teach us, to help us, to guide us so that we do know better and so that we can do better. Now, the other type of insurance we're going to talk about is whole life or permanent life insurance. Whole life is more like owning rather than renting. You're covered for your entire lifetime, no matter when you pass. It can also build cash value over time, almost like a savings account attached to the policy. It's more expensive than term, it is, but some people like that, the fact that it lasts forever and can even be borrowed against when you're still alive. And honestly, you guys, we're going to dive deeper into life insurance because you can literally build generational wealth with a well-structured life insurance policy. And that's where we're trying to move our people to. We're trying to move our people out of struggle, the struggle life, the hustle, the hassle, you know, the GoFundMes, the fish fries, the barbecues. We're trying to move our people from that over to living in abundance, because as I understand it, that's what we're here for anyway. That was what was intended for us, to live an abundant life. Okay, so we're going to talk about it just a little bit more, but I'm looking at the clock and I know that we need to take a station break quickly. I have a guest that will be joining us in the second half of the hour, but I want to go ahead before we go to station break, for those of you that may need to jump off, and remind you of a couple of things. If you need my assistance, I am not a life insurance agent. I don't sell life insurance, but as I mentioned, I know plenty of folks who do. If you need my help with life insurance, if you need my help with other services, other things that we've talked about, please feel free to give me a call. My number is 601-891-5611. Again, that's 601-891-5611. When we come back on the other half of the okay, wait. Before I do that, let's see. I got to go back to my show because I messed up and hit something here, but I got to come back and let my YouTube folks here know what's going on. But when we come back on this other end, I'll have a guest that'll be calling in shortly. Miss Shonda Moore is with Smart Solutions for Life, Business, and Finance. She is actually a licensed financial professional. And she's going to be talking to us a little bit about life insurance and protection plans. And I want you to tune on in. Don't tune out on me right now. And give me some feedback, my folks on YouTube, my folks on Facebook, if this is some good stuff, if you feel like you are benefiting from being tuned in to So Talks Money and More this morning, let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your needs are. We are here to help you. So, Mr. Armstrong, we're going to throw it to you and go ahead and do a station break here, and then we'll come back.
This program has been underwritten by Unity Learning Center. Here are 5 facts about Unity Learning Center. We provide 2 meals and a snack per day. We teach the BICA curriculum. We have experienced and dedicated employees. We offer a safe environment. We offer after-school care. Here's an extra one. We teach. We don't babysit. Unity Learning Center, 6045 Highway 18 West in Jackson, Mississippi. Give Miss Armstrong a call today at the phone number 601-922-6003. That's 601-922-6003. WMPR is proud to have Unity Learning Center as an underwriter.
Talk, news, history, and more. WMPR is what you're looking for. 19.1 FM.
All right, we're back. This is Dr. Williams with So Talks Money and More. I thank you for tuning in. If you're just getting an opportunity to turn your radio on this morning, we want to welcome you to the show. We are talking about why Black families keep passing the hat at funerals as opposed to doing what we know we need to do, which is get us some life insurance. The month of September, I told you we are talking life insurance all month long. And I have a special guest that's going to join me. Let's see if this is Miss Moore calling in this morning. Good morning, caller. Is this Miss Moore?
This is she. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, I thank you so much for calling in. Now, I don't mean to put any pressure on you at all, darling, but I got to let you know you are live on air with So Talks Money and More. We are here with our WMPR 90.1 listening audience, our WGDQ 93.1 listening audience, our Facebook viewing audience, and our YouTube viewing audience. As I say, no pressure, but I needed to let you know that.
Well, awesome, great, wonderful to be on this morning.
Good morning. Well, I want to dive right in because we've been talking life insurance, and we're going to tackle this subject for the rest of the month because the reality is so many Black families struggle when it comes time to bury a loved one. Oftentimes, Ms. Moore, you know, just like I know, we got to either pass the hat, we got to set up the GoFundMe, set up a schedule to fish fry, to barbecue, have, sell plate lunches or something just to bury our folks. And we are encouraging our people to do better. But I think it starts with education. The more you know, when you know better, you're supposed to do better. Would you not agree?
I totally and definitely agree. A lot of times, it is a time that you may be going through with the loss of the loved one, but you can't even grieve, right? Because you haven't got things set up, and you got to worry about getting it and paying this and paying that. But when a plan should have been put in place, that is the most important thing to have at all times. So it is. I advise every family to just to have life insurance. That is so important.
Well, let me ask you a question, because one of the things that we pointed out last week on the show is statistically and pleasantly so, we find that a lot of us in our community, we do have insurance, but a lot of times we don't have adequate coverage. And then there are, again, some families that simply don't get the insurance for whatever reason. And it's unfortunate with the statistics on the rate at which our young Black men are dying, that those families oftentimes are not adequately covered. So to a family that has a young Black son, I have boys. So those of us that have sons, what would be your advice, Ms. Moore, as a licensed financial professional?
My advice is, each family is to again make sure they have special your son, anyway, any loved one, and just at least, some of them just say, even if it's just a cup of coffee a day. I mean, just a little. You can start off with little amount. We work with any budget that you have. At least that will be something that will be to help if any detrimental anything comes along. Just start off with a budget. I even sit down as do a financial needs with them, where we can see where it could, work out for you, or if you have a certain set amount that you can be able to cover for a little cost and to have a high coverage to take care of, and you don't have to worry about anything. That's some of the things. I do financial education with them, even help them with budget, financial needs, but each family is not just one cookie cutter that I do. Each family I can, sit down with them and mainly just, do a financial needs with them to figure out what they need. And they may just have, look, this is all we can budget right now. We'll work with that. And so, but that's the main thing. Just at least get some type of coverage for, any of the children. The parents can cover their children, and so long as they're, immediate family.
Okay, so that's something that we also want to stress, that coverage is going to be different for each individual family. Your needs are different for each individual family. And the reality is, what I may be able to afford in terms of life insurance, the next family may not. What they may be able to afford, I may not. But what I'm hearing you saying, Ms. Moore, is get an assessment so that you know what you have to work with, so that you can get what you can comfortably afford.
Exactly. That is so true. That's why, that's why it's good to just sit down figure out the budget, and I can assist that with them. Just sit down, do what we call a financial needs analysis. And with this, we just have a couple of numbers we'll put together, and then we can work out, this is what you need for life insurance. This is how to do a budget. One day just sit and just get a budget out with them, and that helps them know exactly what they can do to continue to afford, that their policy and stuff to keep.
Okay, so now for those that are listening this morning that may be interested in working with you or reaching out, would like to reach out to you to learn more about getting a financial needs analysis or more about life insurance plans, go ahead and share your contact information with our listeners, please.
Sure. You can reach me. Usually on my phone number, you can reach me at 601-297-0864. That is Shonda Moore. Monday and Tuesday, I'm usually in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And you can reach me there at 110 South 37th Avenue. I'm in Suite B. And or you can, and then on Wednesday and Thursdays, I'm usually in Laurel, Mississippi. So you can reach me there at 135 South 15th Avenue in Laurel, Mississippi. So I usually be in two different locations, and I do a lot of traveling. I can even come to you if, just call me. And for the financial needs analysis, no charge for that at all. I will sit down with you and your family and at least give, a lot of times it's just like, well, we don't know which direction to go. Well, I will give you, just like a GPS, I will sit down and show you a road map.
Okay.
So to get you where you need to be.
Okay. So if you would, again, I'm looking at our clock and I know we got to keep this moving, but give your number one more time and say it a little bit slower so that our listening audience, anybody that wants to write it down can get it, if you would.
All right. Again, my name is Shonda Moore, and it is 601-297-0864.
Okay, Ms. Moore. Well, thank you so much for joining us on So Talks Money and More this morning. We're certainly encouraging people to consider not waiting and going ahead and putting together a plan, because it is all about protecting the ones that we love.
Exactly. And so, but that is so important. Life insurance, it's just having that. You let your family know that you love them.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you so much. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right. Life insurance. That's what we've been talking about this morning, and we will continue this discussion the rest of the month. As I told you prior to our guest joining us, there are two primary types of insurance that most people consider in the term and the whole life policies. And one of the questions that a lot of people will ask is, which one should you choose? Now, my standard response to that is always, it depends. And it really depends on who you ask. If you ask people who sell term life insurance, they're going to tell you you need term life insurance. If you ask people who sell whole life insurance policies, they're going to tell you you need a whole policy. But honestly, it really does depend. It depends on your goals and your budget and really where you are in your life. That's what it depends on. It depends on you. Okay. Many financial experts will say if your money is tight, you don't really have a lot of money, again, go consider a term life insurance policy, because you can get a lot of coverage at a low cost. Something is better than not having anything at all, you guys. And I want to caution you. I want y'all to lean in now, because I'm about to say something and I want to make sure you hear me. Now, to all of those of you who are of the opinion, I don't need to get any life insurance because I have life insurance through my employer. Would you lean in now? You have life insurance through your employer as long as you have a job with that employer. If your employment is terminated for any reason, voluntarily, involuntarily, your insurance terminates as well. Your insurance terminates as well. So that is why it's always a good idea to have you a policy outside of your employer. so that when you go in, if you should go in and you get the hammer dropped on you that your company is going out of business or that they don't need you anymore, you still have coverage for your family. So I'm going to encourage you, even if you have life insurance through your job, please get you some additional life insurance. Sacrifice that cup of coffee. Sacrifice something to make sure that your family is adequately protected. Adequately protected. Now, that being said, I want to just say this. I'm issuing a challenge today, okay? No more excuses. No, none. We are not waiting anymore. We're not waiting until next year. If you know folks that need insurance, please encourage them. Tomorrow is not promised. We don't know. No more thinking, my young people, where are my young folks at? Talk to these young people, parents, grandparents, get these children some policies while they're young. It's way more affordable the earlier you get it. When you don't need it is when you need to get it. Don't wait until you need it. Because many times when we do that, we have health issues that will prevent us from being covered. Okay? Tomorrow isn't promised. We don't know. We've seen too many lives cut short. I go back to the statistics that we gave last week that were startling. Homicide rates, startling. Pick up your phone. Go to WLBT.com today. WAPT, WDAM for my Hattiesburg folks. I assure you, you will see at least one story of a life that was cut short over the weekend. At least one. Illness, accidents, violence. Too many lives are cut short. And each time that life is cut short, the heartbreak doubles when the family is left unprepared. We can do better than this, family. We can. As Dr. Williams has said, we afford everything else that we want to afford. We put $1.3 to $1.8 trillion in this economy, not one, but every year. That's Black folks. I ain't talking about what everybody else put in the economy. I'm talking about what we put in the economy. So we can afford insurance. Yes, we can. Our ancestors, they fought too hard, survived too much, and sacrificed too deeply for us to still be getting this wrong. Still be caught up in the same cycle of financial struggle around something as certain as death. Let's honor them. Let's protect the generations coming after us by making life insurance non-negotiable. Because here's the truth, family. If you love your family, if you love your people, then you cannot, I repeat, you cannot afford not to have life insurance. Let's stop passing the hat and start passing down legacies. Let's stop passing that hat and start passing down legacies. And with that being said, I want to end by sharing a few things with you. I had something that happened this past week that made me remember why I do what I do. One of my sorority sisters passed away and was funeralized on Saturday. And last week I received a call from her son. And he said to me, he said, "Miss Sabrina, I don't know what you said to my mother." He said, "But whatever you said, I just need you to know she was listening." He said, "She made this process very easy for my brother and I. And I just needed to let you know that she was listening to what you were saying." And you guys, I needed to hear that. I needed to hear that for a lot of reasons. I needed to hear that. And I'm so happy that young man shared that with me, because many times I sit behind this mic, I go to the community, I'm talking, And I wonder, is there anybody listening to me? I'm doing what I feel like I've been called to do. I'm trying to walk in a spirit of obedience and feed God's people what he has given me to feed them. But I often wonder, is there anybody listening? Not just hearing, but doing. Because the word calls us to be not just hearers of the word, but doers of the word. So I cannot tell you how it made me feel for my line sister's son to share with me that she was listening. Not only was she listening, not only was she a hearer of the word, but she was a doer of the word. So my question to you, those of you that are listening, if you're still with me on Facebook, if you're still with me on YouTube, if you're still listening to me on the radio, my question to you is, are you listening? Are you listening? Now, in 2024, I know we were all in an outrage about Project 25, and I kept telling us, don't get alarmed about other folks' Project 25. Go ahead and just put your own Project 2025 in place. Just put your own Project 2025 in place. And I did that. You guys, my goal for 2025 was to impact the lives of 2,025 families in a positive way. I wanted to impact their lives. And I try to do that, you guys, through the messaging that I bring, trying to direct people to the resources that they need to get their credit repaired, try to direct them to resources that they need to become homeowners. One of the things that I am very passionate about, you guys know, is estate planning. And we're coming up quickly on October, which is National Estate Planning Awareness Month. National Estate Planning Awareness Month. Now, in conjunction with National Estate Planning Awareness Month, Dr. Williams is planning to do some big things, you guys. You all know that I am an author. I wrote a book, Learning to Trust, the Black Family's Guide for Building, Protecting, and Properly Transferring Wealth. Transferring that wealth. Okay. Wrote that book. I put it out there. And again, I was wondering, is anybody not just listening, but is anybody reading the book? Anybody reading? And I got a lot of positive feedback from my readers. You know, I still get positive feedback from folks. I got your book. I read your book. But then I went back and I started asking people, now you got the book. Have you done anything with the information in the book? And I found that many of those same folks just gave me a blank stare, like that deer caught in the headlights. And I realized it's one thing to give people information. Sometimes you have to give them education as well. So I developed a 6-week virtual estate planning boot camp. And the whole point of that boot camp was to walk us from beginning to end when it comes to estate planning. What we need to do, documents we need to put in place, and to hold folks accountable for getting it done. Because the reality is, in our community, what a lot of us need is accountability. Let's just face it. We are not going to do things just because it's the right thing to do. If somebody is not on us, you know, even on our job, sometimes the supervisor, manager has to come and make sure we're doing the right thing. I got a little gnat here in the studio. That's what y'all see me swatting here. Got to make sure that folks are doing the right thing. So we developed this 6-week virtual estate planning boot camp. Now, because October is National Estate Planning Awareness Month, and because I have set a goal for myself of impacting the lives of 2,025 families in 2025, and we've done a good job so far, you guys. We have. We've been doing the work. We're putting in the work over here. I don't know what y'all doing, but we're putting in work over here. Now, in October, I'm going to do something. I done lost my mind. You know, if it wasn't enough to get up Monday after Monday and come here to this studio to talk to people, and encourage people. We decided to go all out. I mean, we're going all out in October. We are offering this virtual boot camp at a highly, highly discounted price. It's so low, I can't even mention the cost on air, you guys, because it's ridiculous that you would get 6 weeks of training. 6 weeks of training with not one doctor. We generally have anywhere from 2 to 3, sometimes 4 doctors that come through the boot camp to help train and educate our people. This is how committed we are and how excited, how delighted, how much we want our folks to win. We're doing the work. But you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. We're offering our knowledge to our community. So those of you that listen to me week after week, if you're watching me on Facebook, if you're watching me on YouTube, and you know you hadn't done anything, don't wait. Don't wait till 2026. I'll get around to it because guess what? 2026 is not promised. Go ahead and get your affairs in order in 2025. We are here to help you. I am here offering you 6 weeks of virtual training, which means you can be anywhere in your living room, on your job, anywhere you want to be. We're going to train you virtually on what you need to do. And guess what? We're going to hold you accountable for getting it done. Because we're losing people. Only 30% of us in our community have done anything. Many of us wrote wills years ago and we hadn't updated them since we wrote them. What good does that do? How many changes have happened in your family over a 30-year period? So there's just some information and some education that has to happen in the community. And Dr. Williams is doing her level best. I'm doing my level best to educate my people. So I need you all to go on over to that website, iamsonoted.co, and that's iamsewnoted.co. iamsewnoted.co. Go on and sign up for that virtual boot camp. It's not going to break you. It's hurting me. I'm going to tell you, it's hurting me. You're getting 6 hours of my time. 6 hours of my time, my knowledge, my information. But I want you to have it. We're losing. We cannot continue to have nothing to pass forward from generation to generation. We cannot continue to have our estates go through probate and then nobody walk away from that drama a winner except for the lawyers and judges. We cannot continue fussing and fighting every time somebody dies. We cannot continue not having any money to bury folks. We got to do better. So I'm appealing to you this morning, if you're listening to me. And if I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to somebody you know. I just told you, only 30% of us have done anything to put something on paper. But chances are, I'm probably talking to you. I go back to my line sister. She was diagnosed with cancer and needed a bone marrow transplant, which she did get. She got the bone marrow transplant, but unfortunately, her body didn't quite accept the bone marrow. It kind of rejected it, and she went downhill very quickly. And I'm so grateful that in all the things that I've done while I've been on this earth, that I did something that made life better for someone else. I'm so happy that her son shared that with me, you guys. She didn't just hear me talk. She was a doer. My question is, are you? I've had many people over the weekend to approach me, whether they were at the event I attended down in Hattiesburg or at the event I attended here in Brandon on Sunday. Tell me, Dr. Williams, I listen to your program every Monday morning, and I certainly appreciate your listening, family. I do. But what I want you to be is a doer, not just a listener, a doer. If you know you don't have your estate plan done, there's no reason for you not to go sign up for that virtual boot camp. It's affordable. Yes, you can afford it. I promise you can. And if you choose not to, just know this. You will never be able to say that nobody tried to help you. You will never be able to say that nobody tried to guide you. It's one thing when you don't know better. It's a whole nother thing when there's help for you and you refuse to accept it. That being said, you guys, I'm looking at the clock. My time is quickly coming to an end. I've enjoyed being here with you. Again, my number is 601-891-5611, 891-5611, and that's 601-891-5611. That website is IAMSEWNOTED.co. If Dr. Williams can help you, go on and sign up. Call me, let me know how I can help. Until next week, we're coming back next week. We're going to be talking some more about life insurance because there are a whole lot of things we need to talk about. We're going to talk about some common mistakes we make when we are trying to get life insurance. When it comes to life insurance, we're going to talk about some missed opportunities to build wealth. Life insurance can be used to build wealth. We're bringing in the experts and we're going to talk. Now, my question is there anybody listening? And better yet, is there anybody willing to do? Not just be hearers of the word, but to be doers of the word. That being said, God bless you. Look forward to joining you right here next Monday, because if it's Monday, so is talking money and more. Peace.
WNPR 9.1 FM, Jackson, Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi.
Hello, Jackson and surrounding areas. Have you been in a car accident? Have you been hurt? You may contact Funches and Associates. We can help you with your personal injuries. We are pillars in the community. We are outreach to all people, the have and the have-nots. You were injured, so you deserve your compensation. At Funches and Associates,